Imagine staring into the eyes of a Tyrannosaurus rex, not just as a predator, but as a thinking creature. For decades, we've been told dinosaurs were big, dumb, cold-blooded reptiles that relied on brute force, not brain power. But what if that's not the full story? What if dinosaurs were smarter than we've ever given them credit for? The idea of dinosaurs as mindless beasts came from outdated science and exaggerated media. Movies, like the original Jurassic Park, often portrayed them as monstrous but mentally dull. Yet modern research tells a very different story. Paleontologists today, using CT scans and digital modeling, are uncovering details about dinosaur brains that challenge everything we thought we knew. Dinosaurs didn't just survive, they thrived for over 150 million years. That kind of success doesn't come from being stupid. Even though their brains were small compared to their bodies, that doesn't mean they lacked intelligence. In fact, some had surprising cognitive abilities. What if intelligence looked different back then, focused more on survival, sensory precision, and adaptability than abstract reasoning? In this video, we'll explore the surprising truth about dinosaur brains and why small doesn't mean simple. You may never look at a fossil the same way again. The idea that dinosaurs were stupid has been around for over a century. Early paleontologists noticed the tiny brain cavities inside fossilized skulls and jumped to conclusions. In the 1800s, scientists like Othniel Charles Marsh described Stegosaurus as having a brain the size of a walnut, leading to the myth that dinosaurs were clumsy, dim-witted giants. Back then, brain size was seen as the only measure of intelligence. They used a ratio called the encephalization quotient, EQ, which compares brain size to body size. Dinosaurs, especially the large herbivores like sauropods and stegosaurs, scored very low. So, they were labeled dumb. This stereotype took root in children's books, textbooks, and even early museum displays. Growing up in the 1960s through the 1980s, many people were taught that dinosaurs were lumbering failures, eventually replaced by smarter mammals. The media didn't help. Dinosaur documentaries and movies echoed the same message: big body, small brain, not too bright. These impressions stuck, especially among older generations. But science has moved on. Paleontology isn't just about bones anymore. New tools let us peer inside fossil skulls and reconstruct brain shapes. Many dinosaurs had brains well adapted to their environments. They weren't dumb, they were efficient. And efficiency, in nature, often beats complexity. We often hear that bigger is better, but when it comes to brains, that's not the whole story. While some dinosaurs had small brains compared to their enormous bodies, that doesn't automatically mean they were unintelligent. In fact, modern animals like birds, dolphins, and elephants prove otherwise. Take birds, the closest living relatives of dinosaurs. Many have tiny brains relative to their size, but show remarkable intelligence. Crows can use tools and solve puzzles. Parrots can mimic human speech and understand abstract ideas. Pigeons can recognize themselves in mirrors. Elephants have brains that weigh more than 10 pounds, yet they show self-awareness, morning rituals, and problem-solving. Dolphins use tools, form alliances, and even name each other with unique whistles. Intelligence manifests in different forms across the animal kingdom. So what really matters is how the brain is wired. Dinosaurs didn't need to write symphonies or build cities. They needed to hunt, avoid predators, care for young, and navigate complex ecosystems. Their brains were specialized, optimized for survival in their era. And that specialization matters. Evolution favors what works. Dinosaurs were finely tuned biological machines, using every neuron for a purpose. Just because they weren't building fires doesn't mean they lacked intelligence. It means they had exactly the intelligence they needed. Let's talk about the most famous dinosaur of all, Tyrannosaurus rex. Popular culture paints it as a roaring monster, all teeth and muscle, but little brain. But recent studies show a more nuanced picture. T.Rex may have had one of the most sophisticated brains of any known dinosaur. CT scans of T.Rex skulls reveal a large olfactory bulb, the part of the brain responsible for smell. This means T.Rex likely had a sense of smell better than most modern animals, possibly rivaling that of bloodhounds. It could detect prey across vast distances and track wounded animals over long periods. Its inner ear structure also suggests it could hear low-frequency sounds, perhaps the footsteps or vocalizations of other creatures. That gave it an edge in stalking and territorial awareness. T.Rex was not a noisy brute, it was a stealthy predator. Moreover, the regions responsible for vision and coordination were highly developed. T.Rex had binocular vision and excellent depth perception, allowing precise targeting. Some studies even suggest it could run faster than previously thought. Thanks to its agile frame, it may not have painted cave walls. But T.Rex's brain was designed for domination. It ruled its ecosystem not just with brute force, but with powerful senses and refined instincts. One of the most revolutionary ideas in paleontology over the past 50 years is this: birds are dinosaurs. Not just related to dinosaurs, birds are dinosaurs. This changes everything we thought we knew about dinosaur intelligence. Birds have small brains, yet many are among the most intelligent creatures on Earth. Crows, ravens, and magpies can solve puzzles, plan ahead, and even use tools. Parrots can understand abstract concepts and learn hundreds of words. Chickens can recognize up to 100 faces and show empathy toward other birds. Why does this matter? Because these behaviors give us a window into the minds of their dinosaur ancestors. Many traits we associate with intelligence, communication, problem-solving, social bonding existed long before mammals dominated the Earth. Smaller theropods like Velociraptor and Troodon had brain-to-body ratios approaching those of modern birds. Fossil evidence shows they had keen senses, quick reflexes, and possibly even complex behaviors like group hunting or caring for young. If birds can do all of this today, imagine what their ancestors were capable of. The idea that dinosaurs were dumb doesn't stand up to what we know about birds. Evolution didn't invent intelligence in birds, it inherited it from their ancient dinosaur lineage. How do we study the brains of creatures that went extinct 65 million years ago? We can't dissect a T.Rex brain, but we can create endocast molds of the brain cavity inside the skull. These casts reveal the shape, size, and structure of ancient brains. Paleontologists use CT scans to capture every detail of a fossilized skull. Then, using computer models, they fill in the cavity where the brain once sat. The result is a 3D replica of the brain's outer surface, like a fossilized footprint of thought. From these endocasts, scientists can estimate which brain regions were most developed. A large optic lobe suggests excellent vision. A pronounced olfactory bulb indicates a strong sense of smell. A defined cerebellum points to balance and motor coordination. Notable brain casts have come from Allosaurus, T.Rex, and even the dome-headed Pachycephalosaurus. In each case, the brain layout reveals specialized traits that helped each dinosaur succeed in its niche. Some species, like Troodon, had large forebrains associated in modern animals with decision-making and spatial awareness. Others, like massive sauropods, had simpler structures suited to grazing and migration. While endocasts don't show exact thoughts, they give us a powerful tool to understand how dinosaurs sensed, reacted, and possibly even socialized in their ancient world. If there was one dinosaur that might challenge our assumptions about intelligence, it's Troodon. This small, bird-like predator lived about 75 million years ago and has fascinated scientists for decades because of its unusually large brain. Troodon had one of the highest known EQs and cephalization quotients among dinosaurs, higher even than T.Rex. Its brain was large relative to its body, particularly in the forebrain area linked to planning and memory in modern animals. Its forward-facing eyes gave it excellent depth perception. Its flexible limbs and grasping hands suggest it could manipulate objects with dexterity. Some paleontologists believe Troodon may have had night vision, allowing it to hunt under cover of darkness, a trait requiring coordination and sensory precision. In the 1980s, paleontologist Dale Russell proposed a speculative idea: if Troodon had survived the extinction event, it might have evolved into a humanoid-like creature with advanced intelligence. Though controversial and more science fiction than fact, the theory sparked debate about what intelligence means in evolutionary terms. Could Troodon have used tools, formed social structures, or even developed communication systems if given another 65 million years? While we may never know for sure, Troodon proves that the roots of intelligence were already forming long before mammals took center stage. Sometimes, behavior can be a more telling sign of intelligence than brain size alone. And while we can't observe dinosaurs in real time, the fossil record provides subtle but powerful clues about how they may have lived and interacted. Fossilized nesting sites have been discovered with adult dinosaur skeletons nearby, suggesting parental care. In species like Maiasaura, literally meaning good mother lizard, adults seem to have guarded their young and returned to nesting grounds year after year. This kind of behavior requires memory, emotional bonding, and protection instincts. Other herbivores like hadrosaurs and ceratopsians likely lived in herds. Living in social groups involves more than just safety in numbers. It requires communication, coordination, and even a conflict resolution, just like in modern elephants or wolves. Predators like Velociraptor may have hunted cooperatively, which implies strategy and role-based interaction. While we don't know the exact nature of their coordination, it's unlikely to be pure instinct. Successful group hunting takes more than just muscle. It takes brain power. Even vocalizations might have played a role in dinosaur life. Their close relatives, birds and crocodiles, use a range of calls for mating, warnings, and territory defense. It's likely dinosaurs had a vocal language of their own, however primitive. These clues paint a picture of creatures more complex than we've long assumed. It's time to retire the myth, small brain means dumb. Nature constantly proves that intelligence comes in many forms, and size alone doesn't define it. Consider ants. Their brains are microscopic, yet they build sophisticated colonies, wage wars, and perform complex farming. Bees, despite their tiny brains, can navigate long distances, remember floral patterns, and even communicate using symbolic dances. Even fish, often dismissed as simple, can learn mazes, recognize human faces, and display territorial behavior. These examples show us that intelligence isn't always about size, but about adaptability and function. Now, apply this to dinosaurs. Stegosaurus is often mocked for its tiny brain, but it survived for millions of years. That's not something a truly dumb animal can manage. Nature doesn't waste energy keeping a species alive unless it's doing something right. Dinosaurs didn't need to invent fire or make tools. Their intelligence was measured in their ability to survive changing climates, evade predators, or raise young. That's real-world intelligence, and it worked for over 150 million years. When we judge ancient creatures by modern human standards, we miss the bigger picture. Dinosaurs weren't primitive relics. They were masterpieces of evolution shaped by time, environment, and the exact amount of brain power required to rule their world. So what if dinosaurs had more brain power than we ever gave them credit for? What if intelligence had deeper roots in Earth's history than we imagined? Dinosaurs weren't just survival machines. They were adaptable, sensory-driven, and possibly social. That's a kind of intelligence we often overlook. It's not about algebra or tools. It's about reading your environment, making decisions quickly, and forming connections with other skills that still define intelligence today. Consider this: if Troodon had survived the extinction event, could it have evolved into something even more advanced? Could we have seen dinosaur species developing cultures, tools, or language? Much like early humans, this isn't just speculation. Evolution rewards adaptability, and dinosaurs were champions of it. From tiny, feathered hunters to towering, long-necked giants, they mastered nearly every environment on Earth. As we continue uncovering fossilized clues, be it a brain cast, a nest, or a footprint, we're rewriting the story of dinosaur minds. What once seemed like a world of mindless monsters now appears more like a lost era of complex creatures we're only beginning to understand. Next time you see a bird pecking at crumbs or hear it call out to its flock, remember you're hearing the echo of an ancient intelligence, one that never truly disappeared.